evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Fly Show, where I am your host, yours truly, Jasmine D. Millhouse, and I am the CEO and founder of Purpose to Fly. And if you don't know what Purpose to Fly is, it is the purpose to first love you. And I am here with another amazing entrepreneur, CEO, business owner, woman of God, a doctor, a mom, a wife. We tackling everything on the list tonight. Okay, when we talk about Black women excellence, we have it right here on the live this evening. So make sure you let us know where you're watching from. Tag, share, and invite someone to this live because it is going to be life changing and phenomenal. Good evening, Miss Johnson. Welcome in. I see you tagging and getting people on this live because I know you all know this phenomenon that I'm about to bring up here. But before I do, I have to give you a little snippet of her bio. I am interviewing Mrs. or I don't know if it's Doctor or is it Mrs. Doctor or Doctor Mrs. But either way, Mrs. Dr. Erica Brianne McCrae. She is the CEO of God's Purpose Over Everything Corporation, and she's also a senior program project manager at Cricket Wireless. She was born and raised in Douglas, Georgia, graduated high school in 2006, and was the top African American student in her graduating class. We ain't got dead the bio. That's it right there. That's it. That's the bio. That she ain't need nothing else but that one sentence. All right. And you get the gist of who she is. Okay. She also has her bachelor's of science in psychology and a minor of sociology from Valdosta State. And she is married to the love of her life, Dr. Brandon McCrae. She has a 12-year-old Benjamin McCrae and a 4-year-old Ethan and a baby that I got to meet personally, Mr. Timothy. I was so excited to see him. Babies give me goosebumps, y'all. She is also a professor for Beulah Heights University, and on February the 25th, 2019, she completed her doctoral degree from the University of Phoenix in management and organizational leadership. I got my degree from University of Phoenix as well. So that's my alumni. I did not know that until I saw this bio, y'all. So that even made me more excited about that. Okay, and she serves as the executive board of the National Council of Negro Women in her local section. She is also a member of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. In April of 2020, she started God's Property Over Everything, a women's ministry tailored to helping women uncover their God given purpose while deepening their faith and walking with God. And that is now a 501c3. I am super excited. I am honored. I cannot wait to hear what she is going to be talking about on tonight. I would like to introduce to you none other than the Mrs. Dr. McCrae. Good evening, ma'am.
Listen, you done hype me up, honey. I will send you your check in the mail, period.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And will, cause look, if
Listen,
you ain't hyping us up,
add
who
her to
else?
the 2022 team.
It is.
Okay.
If your hype me up, Queen, don't do what I
Listen,
do.
if they don't
She
do that,
fired.
if they ain't Jasmine, I don't want them.
She
I don't
fired. She
want
fired. So how are you?
I am good, Queen. Thank you so much for having me. I never take this for granted that someone invites me to be on their platform, and I'm just grateful, Queen. So thank you so much.
You are absolutely welcome. So I do have a couple of questions for you here on the Fly Show. I would like to say first, and foremost, thank you for, lending your time and being on live with us and sharing this with your community. And I'm excited about, hearing more about your story because we see you on Facebook. We are in God's purpose over everything, but I want to get the story behind the name, the story behind the journey, and
Yeah.
how you were given that vision and given that, and how do you hold such a heavy mantle? Okay, but before we get that deep, tell us a little bit about how you define who Erica McCrae is.
Oh, girl, that's a loaded question. To be honest, I don't feel as though I define who I am. And that's the beauty in what I do, because it's God's purpose over everything. So I am who He created me to be. And that changes on a day-to-day basis. Like one day I may be doing this, and then you look up and God has me going in another direction, and everybody is like, how are you doing all of that? There's no limit to what He can and can't do in our lives. So I don't have a definition of who I am. I am who He created me to be, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot. It's a lot of different facets. And as I walk this journey, I'm realizing things that I didn't know were things that He wanted me to walk in. So it's a continual journey for me. And I don't want to put a definition on who I am, because I still don't fully know who I am. And I'm trying to tap into all that God has created. So at this point, listen, I'm undefined. Okay. Undefined in 2020.
You know what? That is the first time that I've ever received that answer in someone not putting a definition on who they are. Because once you define yourself, that's what you're then labeled as. But you don't understand that you're ever evolving and things change. Who I was at 10 is not who I was at 20. And it sure is not going to be who I was at 30. And when I hit 40, all of that is going to be out the window.
Exactly.
So that is a very, very different way to look at that question. And what happened, just on your journey that made the thought of entrepreneurship click for you? Like, what got you started on that journey?
Okay, so to be honest, and this is, people always categorize me as an entrepreneur, and I always used to be like, no, sis, that's not me, because everything that I did was more so tailored to ministry, and I didn't necessarily have a business. In 2020, I did start the God's Purpose Over Everything t-shirt business, but it wasn't something that I was just putting a whole bunch of focus and energy and attention to like an entrepreneur. So even with that, I was like, no, I'm not an entrepreneur right now, because I really didn't know what God had for me. And I remember I've received several prophecies about ministry and marketplace, ministry and marketplace. I'm like, Lord, what is this marketplace? I get the ministry because you're showing me that, but what is this marketplace that you're talking about? Why are people talking about entrepreneur when I'm not one yet? Like, what is this? So I can't share right now, but even me and my husband today, as we were praying, we've been on a fast for like 2 weeks now, and we've been fasting and praying. And there's a venture that I'm getting ready to tap into 2022. So I can't say anything yet because he hasn't released me. But he even said, as I was praying today, he said, now the prophecies make sense as far as what God was saying, as far as ministry and marketplace, and you do it. So now I see what he was saying. Back then I didn't understand. I'm like, nah, sis good with her corporate 9 to 5, close to 6 figures, vacation time. Like, sis is good, because the entrepreneur life is very difficult. But I'm now seeing what he was talking about, just a glimpse, because I feel like he's going to give me favor in a lot of areas to be able to do and have a successful entrepreneur life. But I never saw that for myself when I first started this journey. And when people would say that, I would really be like, no, that's not me right now. It may be me in the future, but he hasn't revealed to me what that is. So that's my journey. Literally, I would say starting since September, maybe September, October is when I've been thinking about, okay, so in 2022, sis is going to dig into some entrepreneurial endeavors. But before then, I didn't see that. Everybody said it, but I didn't see it.
And just kind of digging into that a little bit, with you saying, no, God, I'm good. I'm not, that's not my journey. That's not my calling. I'm good where I am. Why do you feel that the words that you speak, even when you don't understand what God is doing, why do you feel those words matter?
Words matter in everything that you do. Life and death is in the power of your tongue. So when I was saying, I'm good, so this is my thing. People, everybody wants to say that being an entrepreneur is just the way to go. Why are you working for somebody? Why are you doing that? Let me just clear the air right here. Everybody's journey is different. So when I was saying corporate America is where it is, corporate America is where it was for me at that time. Now, since then, I have literally, so I'm in a whole bunch of different programs at my job about get into that next phase. What do you have to do? How you have to position yourself and all of that for CEOs and everybody to see you and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you guys, I gave some of this last year, but I'll recap. This was literally a year ago. A year ago today, I had my dream job that I worked for AT&T Cricket. So there was an opportunity and it was my dream job. I was like, oh yeah, if I'm going to do anything in this company, this is the job. Talked to my boss. He was like, yeah, okay, cool. I support you 100%. Needless to say, I got up all the way to the final interview, which was with the only Black person on the CEO's executive team. He was responsible for it. So it would have been the person under him, and then the CEO. That was going to be my direct chain of command. I got all the way to the top for them to tell me that I was number 2. And I was like, I done went through 3 to 4 interviews. I met with the highest Black guy in the company. He even said I did a phenomenal job, and they told me that I was number 2. So I'm like, God, okay, that was it for me. I was like, so I don't know what you're doing. And I remember years ago, I was at Jeremy Stone's church, and he looked at me and he said, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to come off of that job because you're going to be doing so much in ministry that you're not going to be able to do that. So I thought about that then, and I'm like, okay, well, God, I don't know what you got going on, but okay, I'm going to wait. That's fine. So now being on this current journey, I'm in all of these different programs and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I'm probably going to be here that long. I was like, nothing is resonating with me. I don't necessarily care about positioning myself to executives because there's not a job that y'all have right now that I want. I'm okay with what I'm doing now. So then I started thinking, okay, God, well, if you have me in a season where I'm looking now and I'm like, no, I don't think this is it. I even told one of the guys, the mentor, I have a mentor, he was like, well, what are you trying to do in the next couple of years? I was like, to be honest, I don't know. I said, because I applied for something and that was my dream job. So
I don't even know. I'm okay. Right.
So, started going through that, and I kept telling my husband, I was like, yeah, so something's about to shift because I'm feeling different for the first time ever. And there's been a couple of things that God has. So after my conference this year, after September, God dealt with me. I was so convicted. He was like, you pushing all these people, but you ain't doing everything that I called you to do. I said ministry and marketplace. So then he brought to my remembrance a business idea that I said I wanted to do years ago. He was like, yeah, you need to go back and do that. So that's what I've been doing. And so we'll see how 2022 goes. But this is my thing. And this is what I encourage everybody on here. No more fear. No more fear of the unknown. No more fear of, well, what if I fail? Or what if this doesn't do right? Or, none of that. Because if God called you to it, he's going to see you through it. If he gave you the vision, he's going to give you the provision. So I'm in a phase of, this is now a new step for me. 2019 was a new step for me. Now going into 2022, it's new territory. But I be doggone if I'm going to allow fear or anybody to tell me that I can't do what God has called me to do. If he put this in front of me, guess what? It may be hard. It may not be exactly what I wanted to be in the beginning, but it's going to be blessed and it's going to be favored because he said do it. So I'm sharing when I can share. I'm going through the process. December for me, gosh, I've been off for the whole month of December, but I have not rested because he said, this is not a month for you to rest. I gave you a month off your job so you can build what I'm telling you to build now for 2022.
Whoa.
So I have been so busy. I had to release the mommy guilt of having my baby here because I had Ethan here for 2 years before we sent him to daycare. I have to send my kids to daycare every day because I get up, take them to daycare, come home and work. Because what God is getting ready to do for me in 2022, I got to put in the work now. So I'm excited. I can say now that I'm slowly going into the entrepreneur world, but I still got a long way to go.
Yeah. And in that waiting process, how was that for you? Because it's all in, some people they like to wait, or when God tells you to do something and you start doing it, but you don't see it come to fruition, as quick as you want it. We want that microwave blessing or that microwave prophecy. How important is it in that waiting time frame to not get impatient or to still stay in the face of God? How important is that?
So a few things on this. So the scripture that God has us doing and saying and reciting like every day, me and my husband going into 2022, is Matthew 6:33. If you seek first the kingdom, everything else will be added.
Come
So
on, somebody.
let's talk about this wait thing, because there is twofold. There's a wait where God is telling you to wait. And then there's the other part where we kind of get impatient because we see stuff going on with other people and then we start comparing and all of that stuff. So waiting on God is different than the other side of this. And I just want people to understand that. So for me, I feel like my wait was kind of God, but also me too. Because I was unclear. And because I was unclear, I felt like I was kind of holding back, not giving God full range. And we do that often. For me, I always tell people 2019 was when I gave God my yes, but I could have gave God my yes in 2013. But I didn't. So that wait was an unnecessary wait because he could have been using me in 2013, but I was stubborn. So we got to get out of there. There's two ways, because you do want to wait on God, but you also need to release yourself to God, because that's a wait, an unnecessary wait. WAIT and WEIGHT. It's an unnecessary weight on you. You have to release yourself to God so he can show you his vision. He's not going to sit here and show you everything that he has when you're not serving him and doing what you're supposed to do. So I feel like I've blocked myself from a lot of things, but Kurt Franklin, that I posted this as a matter of fact. I'm about to go to my page so I can quote exactly what I posted yesterday. For every mistake was the same amount of grace that kept my blessing waiting just for me. If we God is so gracious. He's so kind. Even when we mess up, even when he waiting years and years for us to get it together, he still keeps the blessing for us. But we got to get out of this mindset of, oh Lord, no, just, what I got going on right now is fine. No, you need to take the limits off of him. And once I took the limits off of him, literally he convicted me at my own conference. Like, how are you motivating everybody else? But what are you doing? And I was like, dang. But
Yikes.
a lot of it is we want to box ourselves into categories of what other people are doing. You can't do that. You can't do that. Just because somebody else is over here making six figures and that ain't for you, baby. God got you doing something else. So we have to be comfortable in the journey and the process that God has for us. So don't put on unnecessary weight. Both of them, WAIT and WEIGHT. Don't do that. Don't put those limits on God. Release yourself to him so he can reveal himself. And then you'll know, okay, well, I am waiting on God, truly waiting on God's direction.
Yeah.
So that was the process for me.
And see, for me, just kind of telling a little bit about the WEIGHT for myself, putting trying to compartmentalize and categorize myself with someone else and their purpose, and not moving in the way that God told me to move, and doing what I was already doing and
Yep.
trying to implement, and became jealous and unfocused on my purpose,
Yeah.
watching somebody else
Yes.
get blessed with the purpose that God showed
Yep.
me.
Yep.
So when you don't do what he told you to do, sometimes he will put you in a front row seat
Mm-hmm.
to watch
Oh yeah.
someone get blessed with
Absolutely.
exactly what he told you to do. So don't put the fear on you because you wasn't sent here with it.
Yep.
That wasn't what you was born with. That's
Mm-hmm.
not in your DNA, and that's not in our structure. If he wanted you to be fearful, he would have gave that to you. So
Absolutely.
don't take ownership of that. I tell people all the time, you can't walk around here with fear like it's a security blanket because it
Listen.
ain't protecting nothing.
Okay.
It's leaving you
Causing
more
drama.
vulnerable. Yeah, it's leaving you more vulnerable and
Yeah,
open and exposed to failure, to exposed to the enemy than it is protecting you in any kind of way.
absolutely. Yep. You're so right.
And yeah, so and in knowing that, how just kind of switching it a little bit, because that also kind of comes in with who you're surrounded, with.
Yeah.
How do you expand your mind to develop the culture that you want within not only your organization but your life as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So who having the right people around you is so important. I can honestly say probably before 2019, I could count on one hand how many people I let in my circle. And as I gave God a yes, he started bringing people, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, God! Like, what's going on with this? Because you know me, you know your daughter." And he was like, "No, I'm sending the right people your way." So
Right.
I had to embrace that because I wasn't used to people just coming and saying, "Hey, sis, I just want to support you. Like, what do you need?" I wasn't used to that. I'm the
Mhm.
giver. I'm not used to people being like, "Well, oh, I need to sow into you because you're good ground." I was like, "Wait, now, I don't need all
Right.
this. Like, I'm good." God was like, "Didn't you give me a yes? So you need to accept the people that I'm sending in your life. You need to accept the seeds that I'm sending in your life." So
Right.
it was different for me, but with that also comes a level of discernment because you also have people that see what God is doing and then they want to attach to you simply because they think they can get something. So you'll have people that don't mean you any good. They just want to be connected because they think they can get something from you. So it's very important in this season to really have people that are genuinely there to push you and support you, pray for you. Like when I do different things, I have a core group. I have a group of people that I know,
Mhm.
gonna get on the call weekly and pray. I have a people that I trust with business. I have people that I trust with legal things, just all of those different things. And I still have a small core group of people that are in my inner circle, but it grew from what I was normally used to. Now I can probably count on 10 on all fingers. But at first it was like 3 fingers. I'm like,
Right.
no,
That's it.
no. Where you come
Ain't
from? What's your motive?
right. Ain't none of that sis and all that. No.
Right. Absolutely. But as he gave me God's purpose over everything and all of that, he's showing me that your mission is to help women. And in order for you to help women, you got to present yourself friendly. You got to be
Mm.
able to, engage with people and help to push them and, be open. And that's not to say that everyone has to be in your inner circle, but you got to have a level of genuineness towards the people that God
Right.
has assigned to you. I mean,
Mm.
essentially, a lot of ministry, even though a lot of us are not pastors, you have a certain flock that God has assigned to you. So you have to make sure that you're managing that well and managing it according to what God wants you to do. So it was definitely a transition for me because I remember telling my husband, I'm like, okay, so this person is really genuine. This person
Mhm.
is really genuine. Like, where are these people coming from? Because he knows me. He's like, no, because you talked about 3, 4 people. People think you mean. I'm like, I'm not mean. He was like, well, that's what people think. And I'm just like, okay. So gosh, that's so important in this season. So important, especially when God is giving you vision. Because you can't tell everybody your vision. I mean, Joseph was the prime example. he thought, oh, well, they're going to receive me because, you know, this is what I saw now, baby. They threw you right in that pit. Because they were like, no, you think you about to have more than us? No, we're not doing that. So like, even in this season that I'm in right now, God is saying, okay, release this. Don't say nothing about this. Do this. Hold off on this, because God has me like, it's so crazy how he has me to share testimonies. Like, some of them, I be like, this ain't even a testimony. Why you want me to say this is a failure? But he's so intentional, because everything comes full circle. I'll tell a testimony, and then a year later something happens, and he's like, okay, so this is the reason why I told you to show them this now, because I knew I was going to do this at this time.
Right.
So, man, people that are assigned to you are needed. You can't carry the assignment by yourself. It wasn't meant to be carried. Even Jesus going to his death, someone helped him to carry the cross. Even though he was assigned, God had someone to help him carry it when it got too heavy. So
I call that a ram in the bush.
Listen.
That was his ram in the bush.
Listen.
We all got one.
He couldn't physically carry out the assignment without a little help. What makes us think we're going to be able to carry out the vision that he's given us?
Come on.
And I'm going to end with that.
On to my next one.
Because that just came out. That just came from heaven. So.
Come on, download. That was for somebody. I hope you take a look. Hold on. Pause. I tell anybody, make sure you grab you a piece of paper, a pencil, a crayon, an eyeliner, whatever you can write with to take down these notes, because you never know what may be said that you needed to hear, that you can come back and reference and go through and listen to it again. Okay, so make sure you taking notes, right?
And my husband out here, he's talking about, and tell him it was a black man too that kept him carrying across.
You better let them know, dog.
Right. But
it was.
I mean, so what makes us think that we have the capacity when our Savior needed help carrying across?
My God, tonight. Look, I told y'all she was finna come in here and tear y'all head off.
Lord, girl.
Listen. As she take a sip.
Girl, I got a little parched off of that.
So my next question for you is, in going through all of that, what has been the difference between your purpose starting, God's purpose over everything versus your purpose now? Or has it ever changed?
I think the message and the intent behind just God's purpose over everything is the same, but I do feel like it's evolving. So, in 2020 was when he gave me the name and told me to go and create this group. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this group? Like, why? Like, I'm sitting here having all these questions and conversations with him. He was like, girl, just please open the group. And I opened the group, and it's been almost 2 years. We have about 2,500 ladies in the group. And it's the vision is still the same. I still feel the call is tailored towards women, pushing women into purpose. 2022 will be the 4th Women of Purpose conference. I never thought in a million years that we would be on year 4. I thought after the first year, I was like, okay, God, I did it. Thank you for trusting me. We out. And he was like, no, sis.
Did you pound Jesus?
I was like, literally, I was in denial the 2nd year and the 3rd year. Actually, this year, I'll take that back. The 1st year and the 2nd year, I was in denial. After this conference this year, I was like, okay, so let me go ahead and prepare for next year. This was the first year that I was like, okay, this is annual. Because I literally was in denial. I was like, I did what God told me to do. Y'all not about to put this annual thing on me because this ain't it. But I'm now seeing how everything ties together. I didn't realize that women of purpose would be tied to God's purpose over everything. I didn't realize that I would have a nonprofit, and I still don't know everything He wants with that, but I'm being obedient. So the purpose is still the same. It's just evolving. So what does that look like with the nonprofit? What does that look like with the conferences? For my birthday, he gave me a passing the crown. Literally, I called my photographer and was like, "Hey, you got some crowns?" I was like, "I got this vision," and then through that, it birthed passing the crown, which is a program to sponsor women. So we did it this year. We sponsored 3 women with $500, but God was like bigger. So $5,000 or $1,000 a piece for 5 women next year. So everything, He's just so intentional. He uses every aspect of everything that I am to create whatever He wants to create, and I'm here for it. So I still feel it is the same, just evolving, and I have to trust. We don't need you getting on here trying to, you know what? Man of God, we don't need you getting on here and putting my business out in the street. Okay, let me tell my testimony. So, yeah, I honestly, I cannot tell you guys that I have a A to Z plan, because I don't. I'm literally at this moment riding by the seat of my pants, like literally. I don't know everything. He told me to create the nonprofit. That's what I did. He gave me passing the crown. That's what I did. That's where I am right now. So as He downloads, I follow.
And you know what the beautiful part is about that? It's not in knowing how to, it's just doing as you're told. The how to ain't got nothing to do with you. Just
Yep,
go do what I took. Look, when
absolutely.
I tell you go over here and start X, A, B, and C, and don't worry about D through Z. I got
Mhm.
that.
Absolutely.
What I'm giving you is not for you anyway. It's for you to
That part.
open the avenue for the people that I need you to reach. It ain't about you.
Yeah.
I'm asking you to do this. No, no, no. I'm telling you to do this because your purpose is connected to these souls. And
That's
without
right.
you moving your spiritual feet to do what I'm asking you to do, you're killing these people spiritually. They can't
Listen.
outlive their lives in their purpose because you're being disobedient.
Yeah.
When you're not being obedient to what God is telling you to do, people shut down and the earth shakes and shatters. It does
Absolutely.
not move and operate the way it's supposed to
Yeah.
because of disobedience.
Yeah.
We
Last
have
year,
to learn. Go
last year
ahead.
he told me all I need you to do is walk. And as you walk, you take one step at a time. I'll send the resources. So that's been my thing. I can't ever really tell people why I'm doing what I'm doing a lot of times,
Mhm.
because I'm literally just being honest. I'm being obedient, and stuff is happening.
Right.
And they're like, well, but you need to write this down. You need to do this. I mean, I do what He tells me to do. That's not for people that are just business minded, corporate minded. They don't understand a spiritual minded person that just does what God calls them to do.
Right.
It's a challenge. And I'm very, like, my husband is very just spontaneous. Oh, I'm gonna do whatever. And I'm a very structured person. But when it comes to God and Him telling me to do stuff, I just have to do it. And I say, well,
Yeah.
God told me to do this, so I just go in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been a journey. It has been a journey, but it's been a very insightful and rewarding journey, seeing that lives have been changed because of my yes. Just saying
Mm.
yes to God. People are, really being impacted just because you were obedient.
Yeah. And what have you learned and gained from your obedience? And also, what have you learned and gained from those moments that you felt like you failed?
So what I have learned and gained, I have gained freedom. No longer am I just walking around in my own fleshly desires, my own attitude, all this stuff just weighing me down, literally. So I am so free. Just everything like in my life changed. Just my relationship with God, my relationship with my husband. Like giving a yes to God just releases you from so much. Your eyes are now focused on, okay, let me make sure that God is pleased with my reasonable service. And as a result of him being pleased with my reasonable service, I'm honoring him. I'm honoring God in my marriage, like all of these different things. So it was just like a total transition. Like I remember I literally went from the petty girl 2018 to they was like, what happened to you? Like all of a sudden you all about God and you living for God. And it was like instant night and day. It wasn't a yearly transition or nothing. God was like, oh, I've been waiting on you forever. So you gave me a yes. Let me change your life in like 24 hours. Literally, it was like that. Brandon, get off of here because I don't have time. You and Sharita tag teaming. So look, that's my core group.
It's my about 2 friends.
It's about 5 of them, so that's not it. But it was literally night and day, and people would inbox me and be like, "What happened to you? What's going on, Sharita? Get off of here. How can I get some of that?"
Right.
It just made me realize it was like, dang, like I've been messing up. Like I could have been doing this like 5 years ago. Why did I wait until now to have this freedom in God? So it's literally freedom, knowing whatever he tells me to do, I'm not responsible because I'm just being obedient. Right. You're responsible. If you tell me to put on this conference, you're responsible for the budget. I just got to do what you told me to do. So that's the part of the freedom that I just have and just being able to just do the Great Commission. Come on here. Y'all, never in a million years would I have, you would have told me I would be getting up speaking. I'd be getting up doing devotions and praying. You couldn't have told me that in a million years. I would have looked at you like you was crazy. It was one lady, my husband's trial sermon. This lady came, this prophet came over and she threw something on my head and was like, you gonna preach? God snatched that thing off my head so fast. I was like, ma'am, and ain't. Because that ain't my ministry. That's just who I was. So just to see where I am now, I'm in seminary, like all of this stuff, I would have never thought. But when you tell God, yes, he's going to show you who you were. I was putting on a facade. That was not who I was.
Right.
That was not who I was. That's who I projected myself to be. So now it's just so much freedom. And even in moments where like I've had to rededicate my yes, this is going to your other question about just failures and stuff. Like I feel like there's been moments where my drive and push and motivation to do those things that God has called me to has dwindled. And in those moments, like I'll tell my husband, like, man, like I just feel like there's like a wall or something. Like God ain't talking to me. And I've had to like rededicate my yes to him and say, you know what? I stepped back a little bit. Let me get myself together. And then when I rededicated my yes, he instantly, okay, cool. So this is what I need you to do now. And I can tell instantly that that's what the issue was. I had stopped focusing. I had stopped putting, my little routine together where I get up and I spend time with him and I pray. So you can always tell when you need to prune what you're doing and find what you're doing and get back on track. So even in those moments, he's been so gracious and so kind. And I posted this a while back. The assignment is still the assignment, whether you stop doing it or not. So it didn't change. It's not like he gave me a whole nother assignment. The assignment was still the assignment. He was like, okay, so you decided to take a little break. So I stepped back, let you do what you do. So now that you're back on track, let's get back on track. So I'm so grateful for those moments of him not giving up on me, not saying, you know what, well, since you think you want to take a break, then I'm gonna give this to somebody else. So the assignment was still my assignment when I rededicated my yes to him and got back on track.
Mm. Mm. Man, listen. Read that for me. That kind when you were saying that, with rededicating your yes and saying yes to God, and understanding that the assignment is still the assignment. It's just kind of like how we as married people renew our vows. You be married for a certain amount of time, and then I'm gonna tell you again in 10 years that we're gonna do this again for another 10 years or another 20 years or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at it just like that. Just how you married and gave your word to your spouse, that's how you have to give your word to God. And
Absolutely.
it's on a higher level from, your spouse. So that is a sacred level of how you have to dedicate and expose yourself to him in ways that you wouldn't expose yourself to even your spouse,
Absolutely.
because God sees and knows all vulnerabilities that you have. Sometimes we even, we as women, we don't like our husband to see us without our hair done, roll up fresh out of the morning, and you get up and go run to the bathroom and brush your
Oh,
teeth
that
because
ain't
you don't want him to smell your breath. Man, let that joker smell your mouth, okay?
we need
If
all of this.
look, when I
Period.
say I do for sickness and in health, death do us part and all that other stuff, you gonna catch all this,
You
okay?
gonna get all this.
All this,
Sleep
right?
at night. Okay.
Listen, because I can go regular, and I can go
Yeah.
all the way supreme in about
Period.
5 to 10 minutes.
He
It
already
don't take
know.
long. But
Okay.
you have to be able to give that same thing to God. You don't have to come to him all made up and prissy.
Mm,
You don't have to come to him with that mask on. Come to him as vulnerable and as stripped and as naked as you can, because
absolutely.
that is what he's looking for. He ain't looking for the fake, because he can see past all of that. And when we understand that a failure is not a failure, it is a lesson. That lets you know, okay, I was out here and I did this. I went left. You said go right. I made that mistake. Let me learn from that. The
Absolutely.
wisdom is in the learning
Absolutely.
and how to apply it moving forward. That's what we're supposed to do from those moments where we feel, oh, that didn't go how I wanted to go. It's not going to go always the way you want it to.
Absolutely.
That's life,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Absolutely. It's my husband probably gonna kill me, but I'm gonna tell you this morning. So the other day we were like going through, we were having a discussion and he was feeling a certain way about something and I was feeling the other way. So we were going back and forth and I'm like, you know what, we need to pray about this. But I was mad. And so I started my prayer. We was praying together. I'm like, listen, God, I am pissed off, but I'm finna pray. And he was like, I ain't finna pray. I'm like, no, you finna pray with me because this is how I talk to my God. Like, you are able to talk to him and give him all of your emotions. He's
Yes.
telling you to sit up here and be like, Lord, we just think. No, I'm mad. And I need you to calm me down in this moment because I'm pissed off. You let me know if there's something that I need to change. You convict me. I ain't above a conviction, but guess what? I'm mad right now, and I need you to step in and help me right now. And that's what it is. So your vulnerability and your being able to communicate to God, and he wants he already knows your pain and everything, but he wants you to be able to express that to him.
Mm-hmm.
He still wants to be able to have that time of communion with you. And I even made a vow. I was like, okay, Lord, so when I'm having situations, like especially when you're married, I said, I need to take these situations to you first. And then if you say, okay, well, this is a conversation that's warranted, then you have that conversation. But you have to be honest with God. You have to have authentic conversation with him. Stop trying to go to God and be like, oh Lord, oh Father, we think today was not a good day. And let me tell you why. So help me Like, what's going on? I mean, I be having conversations. I'm like, nah, God, nah, was I wrong or what? Like, what's going on? Help me. What's the revelation from this? But
Right.
you have to be true to yourself because God already knows. So why would you come to Him, the person that created you? Why would
Faith.
you come to Him with some mess that you know He already know? This is not even how you feel. Yes, and just like Doc D is saying, listen, put that word on him. You told me this was my husband. You told me to do this ministry, and now Becky over here acting crazy. You told me this is my job. Now these people call him to his word. Because if he told you to do it, guess what? He has to see you through it. And that's kind of what it is. Now we let our flesh get in the way sometimes and all of that, but we can't be above a rebuke, above a correction, but we need to seek our creator and be honest with him. It's a conversation. Prayer is a conversation with God. There's no particular way in manner in which you are supposed to do it. Although, people have created these templates when you go to church, you model your prayer after the mothers and the intercessory prayer team. But at the end of the day, prayer, and I see in my husband can attest to this now because we've been praying, we've been on this fast and prayer for a couple of weeks, and I just feel like even my prayer life where I would be really anxious as far as praying out loud and doing different things, I feel God turning that because I'm practicing praying out loud more. So in every aspect of your life, you have to give God a yes in everything. Even when it makes you uncomfortable, you got to give him a yes.
Wow. The sacrifice of uncomfortability is the reward that God has coming for you. My God, today. And who in this journey, I know you have a very close knit friendship, very close group of people. Who has been your biggest mentors over your journey?
Mentors. So I would definitely say, you know what, Brandon? Hush. I would definitely say that one of my biggest supporters through this journey, and especially because he reaped the benefit, is my husband. He's definitely been there from like the whole transition, the whole process. He was licensed in 2014 as a minister, and I was saying like 2018 going into 2019 is really when I started, walking this journey. So he's been doing this, and I've been the one like, that's you. So seeing that change and that transition, he's been a huge part of this. I would definitely say my pastor too. Like, my pastor instantly was like, whoa, like, what's going on with Erica? He always says, so I was never baptized as a young girl. I got baptized after I had Ethan. So when he was dedicated that Sunday, I got baptized. And my pastor always says, he said, I just saw a turn from that point with you. And he really started tapping into, okay, well, I need you to teach this series on this at the church. I need you. One day he asked me to speak at the women's conference at the church, or some of the women's thing that we do every single year. It's not a conference, but it's like a women's month. So he started just giving me all these additional responsibilities, and when people would ask, hey, can you come speak here, can you do this, I would call him. He would say, go for it, all those different things. So he's been huge in that. Even him and Brandon both of them are the reason why I'm in seminary now. And just everybody, Sharita, my best friend Amber, my mother, all of them, these women conferences, Sabrina, all of them have been huge in my life and supporting me. Cadelia and Lakila, oh my God, my cousin, child, she know everything about all of this. So all of these people have been intricate in just pushing me and supporting me through this journey. It's been a journey. That's all I can say. It has been a journey, and there's nothing that God tells me that I go to them and they're like, I don't know about that. They're like, okay, well, let's go. I remember driving down the road when so I gave him a yes, like December 31st, 2018. in May of 2009. Wait, no, it wasn't in May. January, I believe. God was like, hey, so I need you to do a women's conference. And I was like, what? And I remember calling Brandon and was like, hey, so I know this may sound weird because I'm still trying to make sure I'm hearing from God and stuff. Again, I'm petty girl. I'm the girl that, listen, this church, I go to church. I was raised in the church, but all this extra stuff is not for me. So I remember I was like, hey, so I just did a voice memo because I was riding down the road and God said, do a conference. And he was like, okay. And I started telling him stuff. And he was like, okay, well, let's do it. He was like, when are you supposed to do it? And I said, I believe it's going to be June. And he was like, okay, let's go for it. So, though he's definitely been huge in my life. Like I said, my pastor and all the other people that I called out, like huge, huge, huge. So I'm so grateful. All goes to having your core group. Some of these people I really was not close with like that up until that point. So yeah, God is he's intentional and he's so amazing. When he gives you something, he's going to make sure that it's fulfilled.
Yeah.
He is.
And I have two more things. So the easy question is, how does everyone follow you on social media, and what do you have up and coming that you are, able to share with us? Can you let us know what you have going on?
Yes. So on Facebook, I have currently I have my Facebook, Erica McCrae, God's Purpose Over Everything group, and God's Purpose Over Everything Corporation, which is a page. So they can follow me there. Instagram at Lady McCrae. And I can go ahead and say that the women's conference for 2022 will be September the 17th. So I am hopefully going to post registration like January 1. That's my hope. So we'll see how that goes. So that will be coming up soon. I'll also be posting a video in the GPOE group tomorrow. I know it's going to be a transition for some people, so they'll kind of hear what's going on for next year, but we will be starting a Bible study very, very soon. But I won't say much on that because I need to post the video for tomorrow for the ladies. So those are the main things that I'm doing. I can't think of anything else at the moment that I have coming up.
Okay. Miss Lakila said the podcast.
Oh yeah, so the podcast will start in 2022. We are set. I'll just go ahead and put it out there. We will start that in February. So February is our anniversary month. So we'll start that. If you guys have questions that you want us to answer on the podcast, you can go ahead and start submitting those. And we are super excited about that. So that'll be me and my husband. Oh, you can also follow our Team McCrae page. So Team McCrae Ministries. You can follow that page. That's where our podcast will be. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you, Claudia. See, that's what I'm talking about. My people always get me together. Always.
In closing, what is that one piece of advice that you would give someone that is looking for that next thing, that is looking for how to take that next step and how to start their journey and how to grow their faith and get and build their relationship with God? What is that one piece of advice you would give them?
Your yes is everything. That's where it starts. You releasing your will, your way to God. That's where it starts. That you give him something to work with and he will change your life. Your relationship, your prayer life, your devotion life, all of that will come to pass if you seek first the kingdom, Matthew 6:33. Everything else will be added to you. So your yes is everything. It is. So if you want to know what God wants you to do, what gifts he's placed inside of you, all of these different things, if you want to know that, you got to tap into your yes. Tap into that obedience to God. And I promise you, he will show you the way. It's just as simple as that. People always ask, oh, well, how did you do this? All I said was yes to God. That's it. And he revealed my life. He revealed who I am in Christ. He revealed my mission. He revealed my business. He revealed my nonprofit. None of this would have been possible if I had stayed in the state that I was in. So your yes is everything. So if you have not done that, if you don't know what God has called you to do, I just challenge you today to, it's simple. Get on your knees and be like, you know what, God? I literally said to God, I was in my room and I said, okay, I'm tired of running. Here I am. What do you need from me? And I said, I promise you that whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it, even if I don't understand. That was my prayer. And here I am now. I'm just an obedient servant. So if you didn't hear anything else that I said, that's your thing. Be a willing and obedient servant to the Father.
Wow. Come on, somebody, this evening. Be an obedient servant.
Yeah.
And with that, that's how we're going to shut it down for the night. I want to, again, I know I said thank you in the beginning, but I want to thank you so much for stepping away from your family, for just a few minutes to sit and chat with your girl. I enjoyed this conversation. Just seeing you and getting more of your story has been such an eye-opening moment. And I'm excited about the things that you have coming up. I'm excited about the blessings that you're going to be bestowing upon people with you being an obedient servant, with you and your husband and your family. um Peace and blessings to you all, and grace on your journey. Continue to give yourself grace and mercy on your journey as well, because we got to give ourselves grace and mercy. You hear my 2-year-old? That's my amen corner right there. That's my road dog. So
Girl, at
I
first
tell
I
y'all,
my baby.
that
Girl,
was mine. You
that's
look.
the trigger. That's the trigger.
I'm shocked he didn't run through here and try to jump in my lap, see who I was talking to. So again, thank you all so much, to everyone that tuned in. Thank you so much for everyone that shared, tag someone in the comments. Dr. Brandon McCrae, thank you so much for allowing me to talk to your wife on tonight with your crazy self. Thank you, everyone that joined in on with us. And also, this has been yours truly, Jasmine D. Millhouse. And thank you so much for tuning in to here on The Fly Show, where the Fly stands for First Love You. I am so super excited about coming back to you next Wednesday, right here on Facebook Live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out here. Wash your hands, sanitize, and all that other great stuff. Make sure you do what you're supposed to do to take care of yourself, because we need you alive. We need you healthy. And we
Amen.
need you here to continue to be and live out your purpose. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. Good night, everybody.
Bye.